Anisia. Thank you so much for joining us for today's information webinar. Could you please just briefly introduce us yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Anicia Jordan. I am a program coordinator for our management vertical. So what that means is I manage the daily operations for all of our management certificate programs from SHRM, project management, bookkeeping, payroll, and classes of that nature.
Awesome. Thanks, Anisia. So we do have some questions that from students. So
Mhm.
I'll just, kind of like ask you several questions that we receive from students. So students will ask, like, do they need to take the fundamental HR first and then the SHRM next to be able to get certified?
So you don't necessarily have to take fundamentals of HR first in order to take the SHRM course. I highly advise all students to do a strong analysis of where you are within your career, because our fundamentals of HR is an introductory course that goes over pretty much the essentials of the HR field and a lot of the common topics and day-to-day responsibilities that somebody would have within the HR field. Whereas for SHRM, that is more of a course of people that are already within the HR field. They have more experience and are actually ready to take the certification exam, as that class is geared more towards your skill set and testing skills and topics that will be discussed on the certification exam. So I would say it really depends on where you're trying to take your career as far as HR is concerned. So it's best that students really have a clear understanding of what they want to do first and then decide if they want to take fundamentals or if they want to take SHRM. Now, you don't have to take both. You can take one or the other, but we do have some students that have taken both because they felt that they needed it, and that is totally acceptable if you decide to do that, but it's not necessarily a requirement.
Gotcha. Thank you. And also students ask about, so once they take either both or just the SHRM, does that mean they are able to get certified?
Not necessarily meaning that they're able to get certified, because we always tell students to go to the SHRM.org website specifically, because they have their own specific requirements of what it means to be eligible to sit for their exam. Our courses are strictly more of the preparatory type of course where we, give you testing tips. Our instructors are all certified. So they give their personal insight of when they took their exams. They give you helpful tips, but we do not have the same requirements as SHRM, nor are we the pre-qualifier for the SHRM certification exam. So we always advise students to go to SHRM.org and look through their website to see exactly what the requirements are to sit for their certification exam. And from there, you'll be able to decide if you are actually eligible to sit for the exam.
Got you. So which means students still need to take the certification exam through SHRM, not Kennesaw after, they finish our course, because our course is a prep course.
Yes.
They cannot get certified, after they complete the course.
Yep, that is correct.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And then we have other questions here. They want to know, is there any eligibility requirement to do this certification, like prerequisite? And do they need to have human resources, like working experience, all of these? Yeah.
So we as KSU, we have our own eligibility prerequisites for our actual prep course. So we require a high school diploma or equivalent work experience for our HR certificate program, but that's not required for the fundamentals of HR course, because that course is an introductory course. We don't have those specific prerequisites, but SHRM certificate course, we do require a high school diploma or equivalent work experience.
All right. Perfect. Yes. So students also sometimes got confused and they wonder if this is a degree program or just a certificate program.
So this is specifically a certificate program. It is not a degree program, so we do not give college credits. We offer what's called CEUs, which are continuing education units, but again, those are not college credits. We
Got
are only a certificate course and a certificate program, so we give you a certificate of completion once you have finished our course, but you do not get college credits from our courses.
Perfect. Thank you, Anisha. And students also wondering if the textbook is included in this course. And is there any other cost that they will need to pay to register for the course?
So yes, the textbook is included with the overall tuition cost. Once you do pay that overall tuition cost, we, as KSU, we order your textbook directly from SHRM, and they will ship it directly to your home address that you use to register with. So I do want to add that please be particular with whatever address you use to register for the course, because that is the address that we will be using for SHRM to ship your textbook to you directly. We do not involve ourselves in the shipping process. So once you pay for the tuition costs, we from then order the book on your behalf and SHRM ships to you. But after you pay that tuition cost, you don't have to come out of pocket for anything else.
Awesome, awesome. And then students also wondering what if they cancel, for some reason they need to quit the course in the middle of it.
Mhm.
How can they deal with this textbook?
So it depends on the situation. We do have some students that want to transfer to a later class for whatever reason. So if you do want to transfer within the academic year, we would allow you to keep your textbook because SHRM updates their course materials every year. So let's say you registered for the August class, but for whatever reason you needed to transfer to the October class. Because the October class falls within the year of 2022, you would be able to keep your textbook as well as the online access, and that would be an easy process for us just to transfer you over with no additional costs, and no refunds would be needed because you would just be transferring to another class. Now, if you wanted to withdraw completely from our programs, we do require students to return the textbook in order to receive a refund. Now, depending on the specific time frame of when you are requesting this refund and returning of your textbook will depict on the amount that registration will give you back within your refund. But in order for you to receive any type of refund, we do require that you return your textbook physically back to KSU, and then from there, registration will work with you directly on receiving your refund. But you cannot receive your refund until we receive your textbook back.
Gotcha. This is, I think, it's really helpful for students to understand, the textbook
Yes.
details. Yes. And also students have questions about, because we do mention on our website, students can join the class either in person or online live.
Mhm.
So students are wondering how these online live courses work. Like, is it being recorded and can they study at their own pace? And how does it work for the online life?
So for the online live option, students will access the virtual classroom. We at CPE, we have what's called Moodle, which is our database that we use for students to access our certificate courses. And students would log into their specific Moodle account and they would access the virtual classroom. So the virtual classroom is pretty much streaming live of the in-person class. So you will be able to see your instructor. You won't be able to see your classmates that are physically in the classroom, but you will be able to hear them and speak to them through the virtual classroom. So again, online live is streaming the live in-person class while class is actually occurring. And we do also have a portion of the class where students do their own personal online work, which is why our courses are considered hybrid. When we offer the live portion where they will sit with an instructor and go through material, but then there's another portion where students will be working on their own time online through the Moodle portal that we use for the certificate program.
Gotcha. So, are the students available to switch between the virtual attendance and the in-person class?
So typically we do tell students that whatever method you register with, that is the preferred method we would like for you to keep throughout the course. We
Right.
understand that things do happen because we are still living in a pandemic. People have children or family emergencies that do occur. So if any of those unforeseen circumstances do occur, we ask that students notify myself and their instructor to let us know what is going on so we can make sure that their attendance is taken accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not mistakenly marked absent when they actually are present. But if it's not an unforeseen circumstance or if something didn't happen, we do require that students stick to the method that they actually registered with.
Gotcha. Thank you, Anisha. And I guess that's the next question coming up from the students is about like, would missing a class or two be detrimental to students completing this certificate program?
So we do have a very strict attendance policy here at KSU for our certificate programs. For our SHRM class, students are only allowed to miss one session, and our instructors take attendance every class session, whether you are an online live student or an in-person student. And because of how rigorous our courses are and the amount of material that is discussed and processed through our programs, we really do have a very strict attendance policy. So again, I just want to reiterate that students are only allowed one absence. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in order to actually pass the course, because we do find a lot of times where students will have the technical academic grade to pass the course, but because they did not, um, they weren't within compliance of the attendance policy, they failed the course. So that is something else that I do want to bring to students' attention is that yes, you can do all of the coursework, complete all of your exams, and technically pass because you scored high. But if you don't attend class regularly and you're not within compliance of the attendance policy, you will fail the course. And I also do want to add, I've seen some students where they will attend class every single session, but they won't do their coursework. And they'll technically be within compliance of the attendance policy, but they're not within compliance of the actual physical final grade they need to pass the course. So that is something that we do like to discuss with students is that communication is definitely going to be your biggest assistance when it comes to attendance. And again, we understand that things do happen, situations occur. And this course is a lot of money to invest in. So if you know that you will be absent or if a situation does occur, please feel free to email me or call me to let me know what is going on so that I can inform your instructor because we are willing to work with students. We are willing to waive attendance when certain things happen, but if you don't inform us, your instructor will mark you absent, and that will have a very detrimental impact on your final grade for passing the course.
Right, right. I do believe the communication is a key, in the for anybody, for students, for instructor, to keep a good communication. And so we will figure out from there. And we want to be here just to help students to succeed, to success. So that's why we want our students to keep a good communication with us so that we can help better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and also some students have questions about, they are wondering if they have no human resources experience, but they
Mm-hmm.
really want to seek a human resources position in the future. Should they still apply for this course, or is there any course like position, or how do they, align these two courses? Or is that a problem for them to take SHRM directly?
So if that's kind of, I have to break it down. Um, but if they do not have any HR experience, I definitely would suggest taking the Fundamentals of HR course. um, Not having any experience in HR and expecting to go into the SHRM class where your classmates are well versed within the field and your classmates are also preparing to sit for the certification exam, that might be an overwhelming experience, because also I want to reiterate that SHRM specifically has their own requirements of what it means to be eligible to sit for their exam. So if you know you do not have any HR experience, I highly
Mhm,
suggest that you visit SHRM.org and look at their eligibility requirements to sit for the certification exam and really analyze if your career is aligned with what they require. And if it is not, I would suggest sitting for the Fundamentals of HR course, because again, that's an introductory course for people that are new to the field, for people that have never been in the field. And I feel like that would give people a better opportunity to build a foundation of understanding the basics of HR.
mhm,
Because again, we don't know people's experience and what kind of work experience they're coming in with. But if you know that you do not have any HR experience, first, I would check SHRM.org for their eligibility requirements, and then decide if fundamentals or SHRM is the correct avenue for you. But if you
mhm,
are somebody that is already within the SHRM field, you have experience, or you've had previous experience and you decided to leave and now you come back, again, I would say first look at what SHRM requires for their certification exam. But the SHRM certificate course that we offer is more towards individuals that do have those strong HR background experiences. So if you have about like 2 years of HR experience, I would suggest that SHRM would be the better fit for you, versus if you're coming in with no experience, Fundamentals of HR would be a good option for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anicia. And I do have the last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Student asked about this course is offered through SHRM, UGA, and among others. Kennesaw's program seems longer, and students can get 4.6 credits versus 4. What is the difference about our programs, and why should the students choose KSU over the other programs?
So I would first like to mention that Kennesaw State was recognized by SHRM, the SHRM organization, as the #4 top education partner within the top 20 enrollments for the SHRM learning system for both 2020 and 2021. So just to kind of give a context to what that means is SHRM has about over 230 education partners that deliver the SHRM Learning System course every year. So for KSU, for the past almost 2 years, we've been within the top 20 of enrollment programs, but we recently found out that we've actually been placed in the as #4. So that means that our course is very rigorous. Our course is truly structured and successful with pushing forward the SHRM learning system and making sure that our students are well equipped for whether they want to actually sit for the certification exam or if they just want the extra classroom knowledge to help within their career. Our SHRM courses, we have four very well versed and very professional instructors that take on our SHRM courses. Um, each of them are certified and very much active within the SHRM organization. We actually have one of our instructors that is active in the Atlanta chapter for SHRM. So we very much have made sure that our SHRM programs are well equipped, where students are getting the top quality knowledge and are able to sit with very much quality instructors to get the best experience as well as educational background and professional background in those settings.
Awesome, awesome. This is really good to know, Anicia. So is there anything else that you would like to share with students about in general of the human resources courses?
Let me see. I would say, because of the amount of material that you guys will be learning within SHRM, please do not wait until the last minute to complete your work. I've seen many students get extremely overwhelmed for letting their work pile up. So I would say first, making sure that you really make the class schedule your best friend. That is pretty much going to be your guide for the overall flow of the course. Again, our instructors are very, very good at what they do. They are very, very knowledgeable. They literally are your personal SHRM, kind of like your SHRM binder of all things that you need to know. So I would say don't be afraid to add them to your network. Ask them as many questions that you need to understand the materials, to understand what to expect for your certification exam. Don't be afraid to ask questions and build relationships with your instructors as well as your classmates. Um,
Mhm.
you will be spending a lot of time with your classmates because our classes are about 3 hours long. And
Right.
meeting with the class weekly, whether you're online live or in person, you will be meeting for, I want to say, maybe about 10 to 11 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, so you will be able to build relationships, but it's definitely a course that you have to participate in. I understand everybody's personality is very different, but this is a that requires active participation. It requires you to be open. It requires you to really dig deep in your knowledge and skill set that you have within HR and adding to the overall experience of your certificate program. The program within itself is a very good program. We've heard a lot of success stories about students passing their certification exams after taking our course. We've even heard success stories about students being able to build strong networks amongst each other and helping each other within the field. So, just make sure you come in with an open mind, ready to learn, ready to study. That is also going to be something that you definitely need to do outside of class is study and making sure that you're disciplined to studying on your own, making sure you're disciplined in taking your exams, and making sure that you're just very attentive when you're in class overall.
Perfect. Perfect. This is really helpful and very informative webinar, and I really appreciate Anisia for for your time and for joining us. And thank you so much, for this answering all these questions.
It's
Um,
no problem at all.
all right, Anisia. So, could you please just let us know what students can learn from the fundamental of human resources management course?
So fundamentals of HR is our introductory course. Typically, this is something for your entry level HR professionals or somebody that has no prior experience in HR. So you will be learning a lot about the building blocks of human resources. You'll be learning about the fundamental laws that affect human resources administration in every type of company from large to small, and also employee relation issues such as compensation, performance, management, and discipline.
Got you. So what kind of like topic of the fundamental HR covered?
So we have a bunch of topics that will be discussed throughout the course, from benefits, writing a resume, HR strategy, risk management, employee relations, training and development. Again, going back into the history of human resources and understanding that proper foundation of how human resources was built, all the way to onboarding, payroll, retention, and recruiting.
Got you. Perfect. All right. So, and the same questions for SHRM, Human Resources Management course. What students will be able to learn from the SHRM?
So SHRM, again, is more for the people that have experience in HR, whether it's 2 years of experience or any type of experience that aligns with gaining a lot more work experience within HR versus our fundamentals course. So some things that you'll be learning while in the course is some key ideas and concepts to strengthen your overall knowledge of things within HR, understanding core behavioral and technical competencies, and how to increase productivity within the workplace, whether you work in a small company or a large company. And also, and most importantly, this is a preparatory course to take the SHRM-CP and SHRM-SCP certification exams.
Gotcha. Perfect. So what are those topics are included under this SHRM certificate programs?
So not only will you guys kind of touch on topics that will be discussed on the actual exam and kind of getting those skill sets in order and studying habits in order to take the certification exams, but you guys will also be learning about technology management, risk management, diversity and inclusion, HR in the global context, employee labor relations, learning and development, structure of the HR function, corporate social responsibility, workforce management, talent acquisition, again, engagement and retention, the kind of basics of HR competencies. Just different things of that nature.
Got you. Thank you so much, Anisha.
You're welcome. So today we have Christine Arabatsis, one of our SHRM instructors. Christine, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and provide a brief explanation of your career within human resources?
Sure. So my name is Christina Arbatsis. I am a human resources business partner with Kennesaw State University, and I am also a part-time HR instructor for the College of Professional Education. I fell into HR just like a bunch of HR professionals. I started off in a big box retail store and worked my way up from just a representative now to being a strategic business partner supporting all of campus services, which in the way they keep the lights on and keeping the university running.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. So my next question is, if a student is unsure if they should take fundamentals of HR versus SHRM, how would you advise them on making the proper choice?
That is a really good question. So, there is a big difference between the Fundamentals of Human Resources course and the SHRM-CP SCP certification class. The Fundamentals of HR is really that entry level class for someone that is new into the career of human resources. It could be for
Mm-hmm.
someone that hasn't had a lot of exposure to HR or maybe just one facet and wants to look at another part of it or the full picture of the entire employee life cycle. It could be for someone that is going into human resources as a second career. It could be someone that took a hiatus and after an X amount of time, they're now entering the workforce. So it's an entry level introductory course that gives a high level overview from start to finish of what the employee life cycle looks like. This would not be a recommended course for someone that has between 3 to 5 years of HR under their belt, that has touched a majority of facets of the employee life cycle. It may be considered a refresher, but it's not necessarily a requirement. For the SHRM-CP SCP certification course, this is going to be for someone that meets the qualifications of SHRM to take the exam. So as we all know, the SHRM Certified Professional and the SHRM Senior Certified Professional certification is a very nice to have, and it kind of makes you stand out from the crowd when applying for jobs. It shows that you have taken the time to invest in your career to be a certified HR professional. With that being said, the course is to prepare you to take the exam. Taking the class does not qualify as an exam, but also if you're new into HR, it's not a class you should be taking as of yet. That's going to be for someone that meets all the criteria to be able to qualify for the exam.
Got it. Thank you for explaining that, because a lot of times we see students kind of are having a hard time with deciding which route they should take. So that breakdown is very much appreciated.
Yeah.
My next question is, have you witnessed any of your past fundamentals of HR students register for your SHRM class? And if so, do you feel that it is necessary for students to take that path in order to prepare for the certification exam?
I have. So I have seen students take the fundamentals and then they have taken the certification. However, the reason why they took the fundamentals class is because they're a one-person show in their operation. Usually they're in a small company, and they've done facets that met the criteria of taking the SHRM exam, because it's not about the title, it's about the responsibilities and the scope of work that you're doing. um, they may have been an office manager. And what they don't realize is they are doing recruiting, they've been doing recruiting, they've been doing employee relations, but they might not know how benefits work. So now that they're going to be in charge of benefits, they took the fundamentals course because they had to understand that tax process, the benefits portion of it, because now they're going to be responsible for doing benefits administration. And it did help them because it shows in line of how do we engage people outside of the organization? What does that benefits piece look like, as an example? But it's not for everybody. Again, it would have to be based on what is their position in their career to it merits of which class do they take. So it's very few that have taken both, but it's because they have gone from doing maybe one primary facet to now being expanded to others, and they just want to get some sort of Reader's Digest of how that impacts the employee life cycle, and then they jump in and take the exam, because in their other positions, even though it's not specifically saying an HR coordinator, an HR specialist, an HR manager, they've done components that qualifies them to take the exam. So now they're also getting set up to get the exam, because their position will be elevated once they get certified to where they will become an HR manager, when maybe before they were an office manager.
Understood. Thank you for that. Can you describe a typical night for your class sessions and how you keep students engaged in the material?
Sure. So you learn the best from your peers. I like to lecture, but then I like to throw it back on the class and say, let's talk about your experience. Or maybe you're asking for a friend, right? And you're a little shy, so you kind of pose the situation to where, well, I just want to get some opinion on it. But we learn best from learning from each other. And it's really just to cover all learning styles. So I like to do every single approach of, well, here's the visual component, here's the audio component, and then your kinesthetic or your tactical component is having those discussions and conversations. Sometimes they're great, healthy conversations. Other times they're heated. And we learn this even in fundamentals, but we really look also when we're doing the certification course, we have these tricky questions, and everyone gets upset and gets beat up about, well, crap, I'm not going to pass the exam. I said, well, no, that's why you're taking this class. You're learning that SHRM voice to be able to identify and start thinking this direction than what you're currently doing now, and having a discussion about that. You retain more from people's discussions and examples than just hearing it alone.
Understood. Thank you. And my next question is, can you briefly provide us with some topics that you covered throughout the fundamentals course as well as the SHRM course?
Sure. So the fundamentals courses, like I said before, is all about the employee life cycle. We start with the recruitment and the job description component. We then go to how offer letters are made. We also go into the benefits and engagement piece, retaining people, training and development, progressive discipline, and then, of course, exiting the organization, whether it be voluntary or involuntary. We also discuss the history of human resources. How did we get to where we are today and how it's ever evolving? We even do talk about and sprinkle in some current events because HR is an exciting part to be in. It's constantly changing every 6 months. The whole vibe, the job market, we talk about all of that. For the SHRM-CP SCP certification, a lot of it needs to be expected. We're not going to go ahead and dive in and go into detail on topics. You have to have some sort of generalized knowledge or understanding because you're going into the class to get certified. We're helping you identify what the test will ask you. We'll help you say, hey, this is something that's good for you to study and pick up on because they probably will ask that on the exam. And then, we give examples and tips and tricks on how to remember things and provide supplemental information. So it will go at a faster pace, but it's a lot longer course and there's so much more information. And that's the other thing. What you put into that SHRM-CP SCP certification course is what you're going to get out of. So you have to engage, you have to participate. And I'm speaking directly to the CP SCP certification. The fundamentals is just an introductory high level overview. Whereas you have to dedicate extra time out of the class to be able to help with the information and retaining that because it's so much.
Got it. Thank you for that. And my last question is, do you have any helpful tips for students that they can use to prepare for the SHRM certification exam?
Yes. If you are going to take the SCP certification, you need to dedicate time outside of class to study. The good rule of thumb is, and depends on your personality, if you can take the class, the exam, the first day it's released out to the public to, take, do it. Because then you've set a deadline. If you sit and you dilly dally and you're like, well, I have until December to take it or January or whatnot, you're going to forget. So set a deadline for yourself. From there, you need to identify how long you're going to study. The first few weeks of the course, you're going to study maybe an hour or two outside of class, and that's because you're doing the reading. Every week it's going to start to progress and progress and progress. And usually my recommendation is study between an additional 4 to 6 hours every week extra when you get closer to taking the exam. When we talk about what's a great way, how do you memorize, how do you test yourself, there's a ton of things that are in the material that we're going to cover that'll help you study. But then we also share some nuggets along the way that we've learned as instructors, what we've learned from our previous students, what's a great takeaway. And I even go above and beyond to show you, like, hey, I used to be you. Let me show you what I did. And bring a box of tissues because it's a lot.
Definitely appreciate that. Christine, we really appreciate all of your feedback and insight. And you guys are in very good hands, whether you decide to take the Fundamentals of HR course or the SHRM certification course as well. But Christine, thank you so much for your time and being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks so much for joining us for today's information panel. Could you please briefly introduce us yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ryan Capps. I'm the registration manager here at the College of Professional Education. Been in higher ed for about 16 years with a background in financial aid.
All right. What are the financial aid options for this course?
Yeah, so for this course, we do offer payment plans. We also accept VA education benefits for those who qualify. We accept WIOA and student loans.
Perfect. How does the payment plans work?
Yeah, so for the payment plan, it's going to be split into 4 payments. The first of which is going to be $565 plus a $50 registration fee. It's a one-time fee on all our payment plans. The remaining amount will be split over the remaining 3 payments. So the first amount is due at the time of registration. The second will be due by the first day of class. And the remaining 2 payments will be split over the length of the program.
Great. So the students need to pay for the $50 non-refundable enrollment fee?
Correct. The $50 is a non-refundable fee that goes along with that first payment. So that will be included with that, but it is non-refundable. If the payment plan is something that you are interested in, you can go to our website, cpe.kennesaw.edu, and click on Student Resources, and then Financial Aid, and then Payment Plans. And that'll give you all the information about it, as well as the request form that you can fill out to request a payment plan, and we'll get that set up and sent out to you.
Gotcha. What are the processes for students who want to apply for the military benefit?
For students who want to apply for military benefits, the first step is there is a VA information form that is on that cpe.kennesaw.edu website under the student resources, financial aid, and there's a section for military benefits. You want to fill that out. This kind of explains how your military benefits work and lets us know which chapter that you want to use. In addition to that, we would need your certificate of eligibility that breaks down exactly what you do qualify for. And then if you are using Chapter 30 or Post 9/11 GI Bill, we would need a copy of your DD 214. If you are using MyCAA, which is a benefit for spouses of military service members, you would first need to contact your MyCAA advisor. And if you do qualify, you could reach out to us and we'll get you your education and training plan, or your ETP, and you can submit that back to your advisor to kind of get the process started for that.
All right. So what about WIOA?
Yeah, so WIOA is a benefit for students that are unemployed or underemployed, low income, that can help pay for the cost of the course. To apply for this, again, you can go to our website, cpe.kennesaw.edu. Under Student Resources, Financial Aid, and there's a section for WIOA. It's broken down by the region of the state that you're in, so you want to find your appropriate region. Click on the link and apply, and that'll tell you if you are eligible for it. And then from there, they'll let you know the next steps of what you need to turn in, as well as what you need from us, and we'll assist you with that process.
Great. So is there any employer voucher students can use? And also some students will have their employer to pay for the course. So what are the processes look like if their employer pay for it?
Yeah, so if you have an employer that is willing to pay for your course, what we would need is we would need something from your employer, such as like a voucher, essentially stating that they will pay for the course. With it, there can't be any contingencies on it, such as you need to receive a certain grade or anything like that. But as long as they state they will pay for the course, we can accept that. Once we get that, we'll register you for the course and then send an invoice to your employer for payment. So you would not need to come out of pocket to cover that course.
That's good. Is there any discount for KSU students or staff member, faculty member? And how to apply for them, and any discount for KSU or CPE alumni?
Yeah, there is. So for KSU students, staff, faculty members, we do offer a 25% discount on our courses here at CPE. And then we do offer a 10% discount for our online courses. For KSU and CPE alumni, we do offer a 10% discount on all those courses. If you do qualify for those, you would want to give us a call. We'll just need to verify that you are a current student or alumni, and we can get that discount applied for you and take that off the cost of the course.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ryan. These are very helpful information for our students to understand better about the financial aid
Yeah, you're
option.
welcome.
Yes, and then we do have some more questions from students about registration for the course.
Mhm.
So can this course be applied toward a college degree?
Unfortunately, it cannot. Our courses are considered non-degree and non-credit. They are awarded CEUs, which are continuing education units, but they are not transferable towards a degree.
All right. So what kind of application do students need to complete for professional education course?
So most courses do not require any type of application. There are some that do require an application or a placement exam. But what I would recommend is you want to check the specific program information page for more details. But most of our courses do not require any sort of application.
Okay. So students also ask, do they need a transcript from their old school to provide for the registration?
They do not. So our courses are open to the general public, so we do not require any transcripts from previous education.
Awesome. So what is the refund policy?
So if you register for a course and then decide that it's not for you, the refund policy is as follows. If you cancel 3 or more business days before the beginning of the class, you will receive a 100% refund. If you cancel 1 to 2 business days before the beginning of the class, is an 80% refund. And once the class begins, there is no refund given, as 0% refund at that point.
Okay, so what happens if the course is canceled?
If the course is canceled, we will give a 100% refund, or you also have the option to transfer to an equivalent course. So we can just move you to another course if there's one that fits your needs, but if not, we will give a 100% refund.
Perfect. Students also are wondering what are the deadline to apply for the program?
Yeah, generally speaking, it is 5 days before class begins. But we do want to warn students, classes do fill up. So we always encourage students, don't wait too long. But 5 days before class begins would be the deadline. If it is less than 5, it will depend on if there are still spots available and if there are any applications that are required for that class.
All right. So what are the processes for the registration?
Yeah, so if you are interested in registering, we have a few different ways that you can do it. The first one is you can go online to our website, cpe.kennesaw.edu, create an account and register for the course as well as pay for it. If you want to do it over the phone, you can give us a call at 470-578-6765, option 1. Or if you want to come in person, we can do that as well. You can come to the KSU Center, give us a call when you get here. We can come out and meet with you and help you through the registration process in person.
Awesome. So can students register by fax or mail?
They can. They can register by fax at 470-578-9085. On our website, there is a registration form that they can fill out and fax in. They can also mail that in to KSU College of Professional Education at 3333 Busby Drive, number 3301, Kennesaw, Georgia, 30144.
Sounds good. All right, so next question is, how does it look like after student get registered? Which means what kind materials or information they are going to receive before the class starts.
Yeah, so once you complete your registration, you will receive a registration confirmation email from the registration office. It's going to break down the course or courses that you registered for, as well as showing how the course was paid for. It'll show the dates and times, the room that it's in, all that information. Also on your student dashboard, on our website, you'll be able to see your current registrations that are upcoming, as well as any previously completed courses. You will also receive some information from the program manager as it gets close to that start date, welcoming you to the program and letting you know any information that you would need.
Perfect. So students also have several questions here. They want to know, after they complete the course, how do they request a transcript?
Yeah, so again, on our website, cpe.kennesaw.edu, under that Student Resources tab, there's a frequently asked questions section. Under there, you'll see a bunch of information, but section 2, and it's points 1, 2, and 3 are going to have a lot of good information for you. So the first bullet point on there says, how do I request a transcript? That'll explain all the information. There is a form that you fill out to request the transcript that comes through to our office, and then we review that and get that processed and sent out for you.
Perfect. And they also ask, how do they request certificate replacement?
Yeah. So in that same spot, it's the second bullet point. We'll say, how do I request a certificate replacement? Again, there's a request form on there. You can click on that, fill it out, come through to our office, and we'll get that filled out and sent out for you.
Great. And also another one is, how do they request an enrollment verification record?
Yep, same spot. It's just the third bullet point. We'll say, how do I request an enrollment verification record? Again, there is a request form you'd fill out right there. It'll come through to us, and we'll get that taken care of for you.
Sounds good. So Ryan, I think most of the questions are already covered for the registration and financial aid. Is there anything else that you would like to share from our registration office or financial aid side, like the contact information?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So to register for the course, we talked about you can fax or mail. You can also go online to the website cpe.kennesaw.edu. You can register and pay online for your course. You can also call us at 470-578-6765, option 1, and we'd be happy to help you over the phone. You can also come in person. If you come in, just give us a call. We can come out and meet you and assist you for whatever questions that you do have.
Sounds good. Is there any particular email address that students can reach out for financial aid questions?
Yes, you can reach out to us at CEREG, that is CEREG, at kennesaw.edu. That comes directly to the registration office with any registration or financial aid questions, and we'll be happy to assist you with those. We usually try to get back to students within 1 business day of reaching out. So if you want to email us, you can reach us there.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us today. I believe those information are very helpful for our students to learn.